Cass, where is RJ Barrett? Like, where is he? I see him out there on the floor, but he is not making any kind of major difference.
We're all tied up at 1, and the Knicks head back home as they're looking to avenge a Game 2 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Nick Friedell here to give us 3 things that the Knicks need to do to rebound in Game 3. You got 3 things, Nick?
Well, there's a lot of different things, but I have whittled the list down to 3 for us, Cass.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the editing. Hit us with the first one.
All right, the first one and the most important one, Brunson and Randall. We know those are the 2 stars. They are the engine of this group. They just have to shoot it better. There were times in Game 2 where they were forcing shots. Shots didn't go down. The Knicks go as they go. If those guys get into a rhythm early in the game, it sets up the space for everybody else.
Keep shooting. Everyone shooting with confidence. Everyone shooting.
If they struggle and they do what they do in the second half of Game 2, So everything centers around the offensive game of Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tibbs has confidence in them. The group has confidence in them. In order for the Knicks to regain some control in this series, those guys have to step up the most on Friday.
Absolutely. I mean, these playoffs, they come down to the stars as much as you get, big contributions from your role players. Bottom line is, do your stars step up? All right. What's our number 2 thing that the Knicks need to do to rebound in Game 3?
Cass, where is RJ Barrett? Like, where is he? I see him out there on the floor, but he is not making any kind of major difference in any of these games. To watch RJ Barrett and to see how uncomfortable he looks out there right now, it's kind of sad if you're a Knicks fan. You're seeing a guy who's got plenty of talent, who has shown at times in the regular season he can be a force getting to the basket, making plays offensively. He has been a non-factor in these 2 games, and he's not making any kind of shots.
If you don't shoot well, do some other thing.
So when that doesn't happen and he can't stretch it for the rest of his teammates, they have a real issue. The Knicks need somebody besides Randall and Brunson to step up and help, especially offensively.
We can do a lot better, and we have to understand that.
RJ Barrett is getting the looks. He's just not knocking them down. If he can give them something at home in the Garden, again, a reason for the Knicks to feel better going into Game 3.
Yeah, RJ 6 of 25 shooting so far in this series. They got a lot of production out of Josh Hart in Game 1, but he's dealing with some bumps and bruises. So we'll see, who is going to step up in the supporting cast for them in Game 3. All right, last and final thing that the Knicks need to do to bounce back in Game 3 is?
Cass, you mentioned the supporting cast. There is a player who has been at the core of everything that group has done all season long, who just hasn't risen to the occasion yet, and it's Emmanuel Quickley. He has been such a force off that bench for Tibbs. He's been a stabilizing presence for the rest of that group. You watch these first 2 games. Game 1, he didn't have a field goal. Game 2, it just looked like he was kind of out there. And I know there is a learning curve for any young player who goes through the playoff moments, but he just doesn't look like he's mentally as locked in as he can be. He's not bringing the offensive difference-making bench guy role and not playing it up the way he usually does.
Pressure is your friend. It's a privilege.
He needs to be the guy who can set the tone with that second group. Hart was fantastic in Game 1. That ankle is still bothering him. Quickley's got to be a guy who can make a difference.
All right, so those are 3 things that they need to do. But look, bottom line, the Knicks went to Cleveland and got what they wanted to get, a win on the road. Now they head back to MSG, where, we know Knicks fans, they're going to show up. MSG, one of the greatest, if not the greatest atmosphere in the NBA. Bing bong. What can we expect from Knicks fans and that atmosphere come Friday.
Cass, 8:30 Eastern on a Friday night at the Garden. There might be, maybe just a couple extra drinks for some of the fans who are arriving into the building.
Go New York, go New York!
I cannot think of a more raucous environment in the league. The fans believe that this team is good enough, certainly, to get through the first round. They believe in this group. There is that Tibbs toughness, all the cliches, but it fits the city and it fits the moment. Now they have to prove it.
Let's go Knicks! Let's go Knicks!
I'm not even so much looking to the Knicks and seeing how they respond. Cavs, what I'm looking at is, how does a young Cavs team that has not been in these type of scenarios before, aside from Donovan Mitchell, how do they respond? Donovan, after game 2, is sitting there saying, hey, we just need to focus on what we can control. And he was not talking to the media. He was talking to all the young guys in that locker room, because you and I both know that it's going to be loud. You would think the Knicks come out with a huge jolt of momentum.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
How does Cleveland respond? It's fun to bounce back at home. Game 2, Darius Garland looked really good. Everybody looked like they had taken a deep breath and were a little calmer. How do they respond in a road environment that they have not been in or seen before? That, to me, will be the difference in game 3, because you know the fans are going to be there. You know that the Garden will be rocking. Which team can maintain their emotions is critical as far as the winter Friday night goes.
And last time MSG hosted a playoff series, a star was born in Trae Young, who fed off that energy. Now, Donovan Mitchell, you could argue, is one of the most poised players on this stage. He has shown time and time again that the playoffs are where he is amazing. But when it comes down to what we're going to expect on that court and the atmosphere around these Knicks players, Cavaliers, JB Bickerstaff, he pumped in crowd noise leading all the way up to this series, so the players without experience in the postseason could get used to what the crowd is going to be like during the playoffs. But you can't mimic what it's going to be like in MSG. So they got to experience it sometime or another, and it's going to be a must-see TV and the ticket in New York on Friday night. Nick Friedell, thank you so much for your time.
Always, Cass.
It's playoff time, and the NBA always delivers memorable moments in the postseason. So let's bring in the one and the only, Brian Windhorst, to bring back a favorite moment from a team in the playoffs.
This is what basketball is about. This is what we wait for. And
Brian, your team today is a team you grew up watching, a team you know very well, the Cleveland Cavaliers. So this is what I want you to do. Set the stage here. What's the year, and what does the team look like in your favorite moment from this team in playoff history?
It was a Sunday evening in Oakland, California. It was 89-89, Game 7. Cassidy, no one had scored for what seemed like a half hour. Missed shots, missed shots, missed shots. Another missed shot, balls loose. And the savvy, sage, smart Andre Iguodala says, we're going to fast break.
Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
Blocked by James. When he gets his statue in Cleveland, it will be of that moment, not of a basket, of that moment. And in a classic case of the ingenuity of LeBron James, he goes up with both hands. Both hands, Cass. Why does he go up with both hands? Because he knows that Iguodala likes to shoot reverse layups. So he goes on the right side of the basket for the standard layup and the left side in case Iguodala tries a reverse layup. And by a split second, by a fingernail, he gets that shot before it hits the glass. I am convinced of this day that the officials just guessed. Having seen it live myself, it happened so fast. There is no way those officials could have correctly called that was not taken off the glass and therefore a goaltend. But they did get the call right. In fact, those officials got every call right in that whole second half. The block, as they call in Cleveland, is the iconic moment of LeBron James' career, the iconic moment Cleveland Cavaliers playoff history.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you tell that he's one of our best writers at ESPN? That you really did set the stage. But you said it's, one of the top moments in playoff history. Is it a top 5 playoff moment ever? Do you believe?
I mean, considering that it was a 3-1 series against a team that won 73 games, we're talking about a court with a half dozen Hall of Famers playing on it. By the way, at that moment, there was almost 40 million people in the U.S. watching it, tens of millions of people watching one of the highest rated games of the last decade. So just tens and tens of millions of people witnessed it live. It will be a memory for all of those people.
Hey, I know. That's great.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I want to put a number on it, but certainly a top finals moment in the modern era in the NBA.
Well, that certainly is the goal, again, to win another championship after obviously that epic drought in Cleveland. And this season's Cleveland Cavaliers are in the playoffs for the first time without LeBron James since some of their own players were even born. So they're trying to start a new legacy in Cleveland. So does this Cavs team have a chance to win one over the next few years? And I have to put this caveat, without LeBron.
This is the best non-LeBron team that the Cavs have had in 30 years. It's the last time they won 50 games without LeBron was 1992-93. Last time they had a top 4 seed, home court in the first round, same year. I was a freshman in high school and I'm in my 40s now. So that just tells you it was a really long time ago. So they have to overcome some other really strong teams in the Eastern Conference. And they need Evan Mobley to take the next step. He's still very young, only in his second year, getting great opportunity to play high value games here. But Donovan Mitchell is a shining star and has been a difference maker for the Cavs. That's the kind of player you need to be the heart of your team, to make that type of run. And so they probably have the star power. Now they've just got to fill in the team and find a style of play that really makes it possible. But they're definitely going to be a team to watch because they've got a lot going for them, a top 10 offense and one of the top defenses in the league. That's the recipe that you need to make a long playoff run.
And look, Donovan Mitchell going off for 71 points in the win, by the way.
I mean, not only did I do that, but I did it in an effort where we came back and won, and it's how we won. That's really what, for me, was like, man, like this is, nuts.
Maybe didn't get talked enough about this season. So obviously we know Donovan is continuing to build up his star, but what's the one thing that this 2023 team does better than anyone else in your eyes?
They do a great job of defending the interior. When you look at their defensive metrics, they're just really hard to score on. And they have they're sort of an old soul team. They play defense first in an era where we're seeing, I think it was the highest scoring NBA season in over 50 years. They truly choose their strategies, choose their lineups, choose their style of play. That's defense first. In most NBA seasons, this would be a strategy that would be very successful in the postseason. They play 2 traditional bigs almost all the time. And when the game was on the line, they play the traditional bigs, and they want you to be uncomfortable and unable to go on the interior. And so they play in kind of a different era, and they're zigging while everyone else is zagging. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in its first real test in the postseason.
Yeah, and they're a fairly young team, so the future is bright. Cleveland, this one was for you. Thank you, Brian. Good luck. Good to look back at these moments for times of hope. Brian Windhorst, appreciate you.